Hello and welcome to the Trauma Treatment Collective vlog. Today our vlog is actually sponsored by a new course that I have coming out at the beginning of March called Becoming a Trauma Therapist. And this course is really dedicated to helping you kind of have a roadmap to developing your trauma treatment skills. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about mindset. And you may be wondering, why are we talking about mindset? And I think it's really important as we are looking at releasing this new course and kind of talking a little bit about becoming a trauma therapist, that we really look at kind of the foundation to what it takes to become a trauma therapist. So this week, or this actual month, we're going to be actually dedicating the whole month to talking about the things that it really takes to become a trauma therapist. And we're going to kind of debunk some of the myths of what we think in our mind that it takes to become a trauma therapist, and really try to get our mindset set in a way that's really going to help us to do the work that we want to do, to be as successful as we want to be with our clients, and to really be impactful in the trauma treatment room. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about a couple of mindsets. I'm going to talk about a couple of three that I think are really common, that I struggle with myself, as well as that I know other colleagues and people who are in the Trauma Treatment Collective have talked about over the last couple of years that we've been doing this community. And the first one is getting all the training. So the number one mindset that we have, that if I get all the trainings, if I do all of this credentials and trainings and all of these things, I'll know how to treat trauma and I'll be really good at it. And we think we have to get every credential, every training, all the big ones in order to be successful. But I really want to challenge that mindset, and I really want you to think about that mindset of, like, we can be really knowledgeable and have no application or no capacity to hold all the stuff that's in the room with our clients and not be effective. And so it's not about solely getting all the trainings. Yes, that's one component, but the mindset that we want to have is do I have the capacity within myself to hold space for this client and to really connect with this client and help them through the hard stuff that they're going through. If you hear a little bit of ringing and those kinds of things, that's my dog. He is in here with me today as I am taping. But so going back to mindset. So thinking about that, getting all the trainings, that's the number one mindset. If I get all the trainings, then I will be the best trauma therapist ever. The other one is I can treat trauma like anything else. I don't really need to get the specialized training. So you have on one continuum, you have these people who are really like, I need all the trainings. And then on the other continuum, you have people who are saying, I don't need any training. I can just treat this like anything else. If people come into my office, I don't really need any specialized training. I know a little bit, I'm trauma informed, but I don't really need to be trauma focused in order to treat trauma training. Or in order to treat trauma, I don't have to be trauma focused. And so when you're thinking about that, that's another mindset sometimes that we run into, really kind of thinking about, okay, if I think I don't need anything, is that really effective? Am I really setting myself up for success? And how can I really move forward in my trauma treatment skill set if I think I don't really need to invest any time or energy into growing my skills and developing myself in this area? So that's the second mindset. And the third and the final one that I'll talk about today in the vlog is I have to heal all of my training, all of my trauma in order to be effective in the therapy room. I can't go in there with anything that's unhealed, quote unquote, or I'm not going to be as effective as I possibly can. And so a lot of times this creates a lot of fear in us as trauma treatment professionals, because we feel like we needed to have it all together before we ever step into that room. And sometimes our clients will actually put that expectation on us as well. They think that we're all together and we're not struggling with anything and we don't have any problems. And we are just all put together, and they will kind of, project that expectation on us. And so that's the third mindset that I really want to kind of challenge today too, is that we don't need to have it all together. There's no way we can have it all together. We are human just like our clients. And that's one of the things that I kind of scream from the mountaintop in our community, is that we are human just like our clients. And so the expectation that we'll have it all together, we'll know everything and we'll be able to do everything and we'll be able to handle everything. We'll never be triggered in our treatment room. Nothing will ever happen to us. We'll just have it all together. It's not true. And I really want to just challenge that mindset today and really kind of put it out there and think about it. So those are the three mindsets. The one is I have to have all the trainings. The second one is I don't need any training. Trauma treatment is just like anything else. And the third one is I have to have myself put together before before I can actually do the work in the room with my clients. So those are the 3 mindsets. Here's some practices that I want you to consider if one of those is something that you struggle with, if one of those mindsets is something that you find yourself pondering sometimes, or that kind of gets you a little hung up when you think about being effective in your trauma treatment. I want you to practice these things that we're going to talk about next. The first practice is I want you to be willing to do work on yourself. And so I think, like, yes, we have all the training, we have all the knowledge, but the application is another thing. And later in the month, I'm actually going to do a whole vlog on being willing to do trauma treatment yourself. But I'm just going to mention it here and say the first practice is being willing to do trauma treatment. Being willing to work on the things that are coming up for you, the things that you feel are hard for you. And that can be in the form of actual therapy, or that can be in the form of coaching, or just some self-meditation, or, you know, whatever you want to do to help you to grow capacity within yourself, to have space for yourself, to feel like you're working on things that are hindering you. And this is even a start here. Just listening to this vlog is starting to challenge some of those mindsets, starting to even check to see, is that something that I am thinking? Is that something that's holding me up and me developing my trauma treatment skills? The second one is being open to the nuances of trauma treatment. So I think sometimes we think it's just like anything else. I had a couple of trainings here or there. I can kind of understand it. I'm trauma informed. We sometimes let that be the reason why we feel like we don't need to go any further, is because we've had a couple of trainings. But I think just opening your mindset to there are nuances to trauma treatment. And it's really important that if you want to specialize in a certain population, or if you want to work with a certain type of trauma, that you really take time to understand those nuances and create space to develop your skills in that area. So starting to think, okay, I'm a trauma treatment therapist, or I treat trauma. Is there a niche, or is there a specialty that I want to develop my skill set in so that I can focus my attention there? Sometimes I think that's the best way to go about trauma treatment, because there's so many avenues and directions you can go in trauma treatment. So having some kind of direction, having some kind of guiding posts, I guess, to help you to direct yourself, keeps you out of the weeds of being consumed with all the trauma trainings out there and getting trauma training in this population, that population, this population, and kind of going all over the map as it relates to growing your skills. So really thinking about, okay, is there a population that I really want to focus in on? And maybe it's just you focusing on for this season of your trauma treatment journey. Maybe it's not that this is the population that you will work with forever. But for now, I really want to grow my skill set in this population and really get to understand that population and the nuances of that population, and how trauma shows up for that population and how you can treat it effectively. So that's another way of practicing just this open mind around trauma treatment and really developing your skills. But staying out of the weeds of getting so consumed with all of the trainings that are out there and thinking that you need all of the trainings that are out there. And the last practice that I want you to think about is self-compassion. So if you've been in the community, or you've been hanging out in the Facebook group, or are following us on Instagram, then you'll know that we actually just finished up our book for self-compassion by Dr. Christine Neff last month. And so I really want to encourage you, if you were with us in that review of that book, or if you haven't read that book, that you do read that book, because it's a really good resource. But I want to encourage you to really have self-compassion when you're thinking about you have to heal all of your trauma, if that's something that you find yourself really struggling with. I think it's impossible for us to heal all of our trauma before we are in the therapy room with our clients, but I think it's also important for us to hold space for our own experience and how that might be impacting our experience with our clients, and being honest about that, and being upfront with ourselves, and then also reaching out for support, whether that's through consultation or supervision, or actually getting hooked up with our own trauma treatment specialist to do some work on ourselves. And so I think it's really important to have self-compassion and not believe that you have to be all put together before you can help someone else. But there is a balance there, and knowing where that balance is really important, and having conversations about that is really important. So that's a little bit about mindsets. I wanted to throw these three main mindsets out, thinking you have to have all the trainings, thinking that you don't have to do any training to treat trauma, and also thinking that you have to heal all of your trauma before you can help someone else heal from their trauma. And then those are some practices that you can have, that you can work on. Being willing to work on yourself, so doing your own trauma treatment in whatever form you want that to be, then being open to the nuances of trauma treatment and really maybe focusing down in a certain population of trauma treatment, to help you kind of narrow in, and then having self-compassion for yourself when you're thinking about your own healing journey, and really being honest with yourself and open with yourself about where you are in that and what you need to be successful, but not letting that be the reason why you can't do the work, because we'll never be fully healed. There'll always be probably things that we're working on because we're living in this world and things happen and life happens. So there'll be things that we're working on. We don't have to be fully complete. Our clients will probably never be fully complete, but those are all different kinds of, thoughts and things that I have. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that, hey, here's some mindsets. I want you to challenge these mindsets. I want you to kind of engage in some of these practices to challenge these mindsets. And I want you just to really think about what it takes to be a really good therapist. And we're going to be talking about it all month and kind of throwing out different ideas. And you may be surprised at some of the things that I talk about, because I think sometimes that number one mindset is training, training, training. I even sometimes see it in our community where when I'm talking about maybe self-care or something like that, that video may get, this many likes, but then when I'm talking about how to work with a certain population, that video gets twice as many likes or views or whatever the case may be. And so I know it's something that we feel like we need, but I just want to challenge that mindset to say that you are your greatest tool. And so investing in yourself is number one. And then getting all the stuff, all the training and credentials is number two. So have a great rest of your day. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog, and please make sure you like it and share it. You can tag me on Instagram, the Trauma Treatment Collective, or you can even like it in our Facebook group and just let people know that it's there. Share the Facebook group with your colleagues and with your friends who are therapists or trauma treatment professionals in some form or fashion. Definitely share this with them. Let them know about the community. The more the merrier. We just want to continue to grow and continue to be a support, because it's hard work that we do, and we want to let people know that they have a place they can come and feel supported and connected to other trauma treatment professionals. So have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.